Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome back into the show. Yet another episode of Crushing Fantasy Football. I am Bryce Lockridge, your host of the show. All right, guys. I've got a list of league-winning pass catchers here. Not just wide receivers, but wide receivers and tight ends. And I'm going to start right here with the first player on my list, and that's Zay Flowers. Now, this is a guy who was obviously a very good prospect. He's playing in a good offense, led by one of the better quarterbacks in the league in Lamar Jackson. We know that these high prospect wide receivers that profile high coming in our first-round draft picks and have great prospect profiles typically break out in year two. He already broke out in year one, but he was a little bit overshadowed by the fact that it was more of a balanced attack on offense and everybody was kind of contributing. With that being said, Zay Flowers is going to be the leader of this offense this year. He's going to be the focal point. Mark Andrews is getting old. That being said, I still think he's going to contribute and make the overall efficiency of the offense better. But the point is, the main pass catcher in this offense this year is going to be Zay Flowers. It's not going to be Mark Andrews. We know that Rashad Bateman has basically been utterly worthless since coming into the league. He might help add balance to the offense and might help the overall efficiency of the offense get better. Devontae Walker, I think, is going to do the same thing. He's going to help stretch the field. He's going to help the overall efficiency of the offense get better. But I don't think that either of those wide receivers are going to take target share percentage away from Zay Flowers. Look for this dude to have a 26% plus target share this year. I really think he's going to see 26% of the targets and more in this offense. We know that this dude has tremendous big playability as well. Look for him to explode in his sophomore season. Next player on my list is going to be Trey McBride. Now, this guy's unstoppable. If you watch the Cardinals last year, they pretty much ran their offense through James Conner and Trey McBride. Now, obviously, they drafted Marvin Harrison Jr. This is going to make the offense leaps and bounds better. Kyler Murray is going to be coming into the season healthy. I think this is one of the biggest sleeper offenses that nobody's talking about. Nobody's talking about the Arizona Cardinals, and this offense can be very, very good. We have a quarterback with elite rushing upside, elite deep ball passing abilities. I think this offense is going to exceed expectations. I think that Trey McBride could easily see somewhere between 10 and 12 touchdowns in this offense. I think he has way higher touchdown upside than a lot of people expect. I think he very well and probably even will exceed double-digit touchdowns this season. They like targeting him in the red zone. Even with the prolific red zone target like Marvin Harrison Jr., Trey McBride is still going to get a good percentage of the end zone targets. He's got touchdown upside. He's got overall target share upside. I mean, this is a guy who is the second most important target in the offense and could see 10-plus targets in a lot of weeks. He's going to be a PPR monster. You have to draft this dude. Next player on my list is going to be Chris Godwin. Now, if you look at last season, the Bucs, Mike Evans and Chris Godwin. Mike Evans blew him out of the water. They were going at very similar places in the draft last year. And if you drafted Mike Evans, you got the way better value. But the target share was still very similar. It was just one of those anomaly seasons where everything went right for Mike Evans. And it's kind of been like that his entire career. But, we've seen it before, right? The years with Jameis Winston, where Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, they just kind of flip-flop as far as, who's the better receiver in the offense. Back in 2019, Chris Godwin was the wide receiver 1 in fantasy. There was a large part of the season where Mike Evans was the wide receiver 2 right behind him. These guys can eat in the same offense. They had a similar target share last year. Chris Godwin is still more in his prime where Mike Evans is getting old. This could very well be the year where we see Chris Godwin outperform Mike Evans. Either way, I think based on the target share that he saw last year and the overall efficiency of this offense being at least a little bit better than people expect, I think that Chris Godwin is trending up, and I think he's a great player to draft this year. Next player on my list is going to be George Pickens. I don't understand how people are sleeping on George Pickens. I really don't get it. This dude is the clear-cut wide receiver 1 in his offense. He doesn't have Deontay Johnson to siphon targets away from him anymore, and he's inevitably going to have a better passer than he's ever had throwing him the ball, right? He was always dealing with, backup quarterbacks, third-string quarterbacks. Now, even though Russell Wilson and Justin Fields really aren't high on people's radar right now as far as overall just quarterback talent, they're still way better quarterbacks than George Pickens has ever had. So no matter who ends up starting between Russell Wilson and Justin Fields, it's going to be a massive improvement for George Pickens. This dude is about to have a massive breakout season. Considering that he's going in round 4 or 5, he's a massive steal. He's a league-winning pass catcher. Next and final player on my list is going to be Dalton Kincaid. With the departure of Stephon Diggs, there is no more true wide receiver 1 in Buffalo. Keon Coleman could step in and end up being that guy, but we know that a certain allotted amount of targets are going to go to tight ends anyway, no matter how much the target share is for wide receivers. The wide receivers can be getting targeted like crazy. There could be 1 or 2 elite wide receivers in an offense, and the tight end is still going to get a large target share because a certain amount of targets still have to go to tight ends. And with that being said, Dalton Kincaid is the best pass catcher in this offense. He is by far and away the most talented pass catcher in this offense. So I think that his target share is going to be through the roof this year, and I think we're going to see the year 2 breakout for Dalton Kincaid. I said it was going to happen year 1. He did have a pretty good season, but he didn't really have the full-on breakout yet. That's coming this year. Dalton Kincaid in his sophomore year, this dude's going to explode this year. All right, guys. Appreciate it. These are my league-winning pass catchers. Make sure to draft these guys.